Pablo Picasso's most famous masterpiece is completely devoid of color. By stripping away reds, blues, and yellows, he removes any chance for us to find aesthetic comfort on the canvas. There are no charging generals here, no distinct victors, and no glorious battlefield. Instead, we are dropped into a claustrophobic, fragmented room where the walls seem to press inward, trapping the figures in a chaotic, inescapable nightmare. This stark palette of gray, black, and white forces a different kind of engagement. Without the distraction of color, we are left to confront the raw, unpolished terror of violence exactly as it feels. On April 26, 1937, the Basque town of Guernica was obliterated. This was the epicenter of Basque culture, a town filled with thousands of civilians and no strategic military defenses. Acting on behalf of Francisco Franco's nationalist forces, the Nazi Condor Legion and Italian fascist aircraft subjected the town to 3 hours of saturation bombing. It was a brutal experiment to test the capabilities of modern aerial warfare on a defenseless population. Over 85% of the buildings were reduced to rubble. A third of the town's 5,000 residents were either killed or wounded, buried under the debris of their own homes. In Paris, Pablo Picasso read the horrific eyewitness accounts in the morning papers. He had already been commissioned by the Spanish Republican government to paint a mural for the upcoming World's Fair, but those black and white newspaper photographs of the massacre consumed him. He abandoned his previous sketches immediately. Guernica signaled a terrifying evolution in modern conflict. Saturation bombing had moved the battlefield into the living rooms of civilian families. To capture this terror, Picasso worked on a massive scale, stretching a canvas nearly 12 feet high and 26 feet wide. He filled it with fragmented, angular forms, fracturing the composition the exact same way the explosives fractured the town. On the far left, a wide-eyed bull stands largely intact amidst the chaos. Picasso later noted that the bull represented brutality and darkness, an unflinching, almost indifferent force looming over the destruction. In the center, a terrified horse falls in agony, its side pierced by a spear. In the tradition of the Spanish bullfight, the horse is the collateral damage. Here, its gaping, strained mouth and dagger-like tongue become the ultimate expression of innocent suffering caught in the crossfire. You won't find a single enemy soldier on this canvas. By substituting men in uniform with these powerful mythological beasts, Picasso lifted the event out of its specific political context, turning the attack into a timeless struggle between primal violence and helpless innocence. Directly beneath the bull lies the emotional epicenter of the painting, a grieving mother with her head thrown back, holding the lifeless body of her child. The disjointed eyes and dagger-like tongue translate the physical sensation of unbearable grief into a visual language. We are forced to feel the weight of her pain through our own eyes. Hovering over this scene of agony, near the top center of the room, is a stark, bare light bulb enclosed in a jagged, eye-like shape. In Spanish, the word for bulb is bombilla, closely echoing the word bomba, or bomb. It blazes with the blinding flash of modern technological warfare, while simultaneously acting as an all-seeing, unblinking eye of objective truth that exposes the carnage. Right next to it, a woman leans out from a window, thrusting a classical flame-lit oil lamp toward the artificial bulb. Her lamp represents human conscience and an urgent desire to shed light on the atrocities unfolding in the dark. Through these specific figures, the ideology of the Spanish Civil War evaporates. There is no political justification left to look at, only the devastating human cost of the violence. Guernica debuted at the 1937 Paris International Exposition, but it soon left Europe to travel the world as a refugee. It would ultimately outlive the fascist regime that destroyed the town that gave it its name. Because Picasso refused to allow the painting into Spain while Franco remained in power, it spent decades in exile. Housed at the Museum of Modern Art in New York, it grew into a global rallying point for the anti-war movement. The painting's enduring power comes from what Picasso deliberately left out. There are no falling bombs, no modern airplanes, and no military uniforms painted on this canvas. Because it isn't tied to the visual specifics of 1937, it functions as a mirror for any civilian population trapped under fire in any era. This universal ambiguity is exactly why a tapestry reproduction hangs at the United Nations today, continuing to anchor the global discourse on peace. Guernica exists as a permanent, ongoing scream. It remains a warning about the nature of violence, a masterpiece that demands we never look away from the human cost.